So we have Jarlath Conroy, Jerry Alexander, and Christine Romero. Thank you all for coming. If Ken or John want to jump in and join us, they're welcome to. They were invited. Anyway, we're having this because always honoring George, man, filmmaker, etc. So I was just trying to come up with a few questions that were a little different. For you, sir, do you recall how you were cast to work with him first time?
Yes, I do recall.
It's a great story.
It's an audition, of course. I had heard that George Romero was in town and was looking for an actor who could do a Caribbean accent. And Christine was there at the audition, and I saw the material, and I said, "Damn, George, you gone Shakespearean on us, man." Okay. And you know you can't do Shakespeare cold, Jarlath. You just can't do it cold. You gotta take it on, you gotta play with images, you gotta break down words that you don't understand. You gotta do a dictionary, you gotta do a whole lot of work to make Shakespeare live. And so I asked George, "Please, can I take this home, man? I want to sleep on it, play with it." And most directors don't care. They got 20, 30 other actors out there, and they got time to do and all that. But he said, "Okay, take it home, play with it." And that's what happened. I came back the next day, and I did it, loved it, and that's how I got into this particular movie. It was just a wonderful experience because he gave me the time to work with him.
Jarlath, same question.
Well, to the best of my memory, an actor by the name, and Christine probably might have the memory of this too, because I just remember that an actor by the name of Ken Ryan, who I think auditioned for McDermott, and said to George, or maybe to Christine, this is hearsay, that if he wasn't going to cast Ken, to see Jarlath Conroy. And that's how I got to meet George Romero. And I did the audition and got the role. Do you have any memory of that? You can make it up if you want.
It's all kind of foggy, but I think somebody recommended we needed a charming Irish actor.
Yeah, well, that was the best Ken could come up with. Yeah, it was Ken Ryan.
But yeah, and I think when both you guys came in, you know, you were George's visual representation of the role right away. You know.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
You guys are great.
Thank you, sir.
And Laurie Cardell, who unfortunately got sick and isn't here. Laurie's originally from Pittsburgh, and we had known her, you know, for a while, and had come up to New York to see a play that she was in. And after the play, George said to me over dinner, he said, you know, he always had people in mind before he wrote a script a lot. And he said, I'll basically write this for Laurie. And she didn't know that, but he did. Yeah. And Tim DeLeo, who was also in it, was a Pittsburgh actor that used to come by our office once a week and say, you know, do you have anything for me? Do you have anything for me? And George said, you know, Tim, someday I'm going to have something for you. And he wrote that role for Tim, too.
Fantastic.
wow, great,
Yeah.
great.
That's tenacious. Sometimes actors have to be tenacious.
Yeah, he was tenacious. But, you know, when I look back on those days, the guys, the people that did that, that came around all the time, they were the ones, George remembered them.
Sure.
You know, he didn't forget them.
Mhm. That was George, though. He has a
Yeah.
fantastic memory, a fine
Yeah.
memory.
Yeah.
So I hear you.
Christine, when did you first meet George?
It's a long story. We met a long time ago. Actually, before we met, he shot a film called Jack's Wife in my parents' house. And that's a crazy story too, because when I was in high school, my best friend boyfriend was Gary Striner, who was Russ Striner's younger brother. And Russ Striner was one of the people on Night of the Living Dead. And I can remember in college, Pam said to me, "Hey, Chris, you want to come home and be in a zombie movie? And be a zombie?" I said, "A zombie? I'm an actress. I don't want to be a zombie." I didn't know from Georgia. Anyway, missed that opportunity. But then George told Gary that he needed a house for a location with a lot of doors. And my parents' house had a lot of doors. So that's how so George actually knew my parents before he knew me. And then we met and started seeing each other in '76. And we were together 29 years. So we had a long, happy, sometimes not happy in the end, but many happy years. And we worked on over 8 movies together. So I got to be there for some of the great films that he did.
Yeah, you virtually you were there with him, doing everything, working
Everything,
with him.
yeah. And it was, again, you don't realize it when you're in the middle of it, because we were working at that time back to back, one film after another, and it was a small group of people in Pittsburgh, and we all did, Savini, Tom Savini, Mike Gornick, John Amplis, I'm trying to think who else was around that time, Nick Mastandrea. We all kind of were a little, Pat Buba, Zilla Clinton. We all worked together on everything, and it was very intense. And we all worked, 20-hour days and for hardly any pay. But it was such a stimulating, energizing time. And when you look back on it, you realize what it was at the time. You were just going, pushing through, doing whatever you had to do to make. And everybody, when I talk about George, everybody loved him. He had a charisma and a way of making people feel at home and that they were really special to the project. And so people put out for him. And, he got from everybody total commitment, which, if you don't have that, you could never make a low budget film because it's, you just can't do it. There's not enough hours in the day. In fact, I don't think you could make a film like George made anymore. I think it's over.
So, Terry, Day of the Dead, what's your strangest memory of that shoot? Most unusual thing?
I can't say too many things were unusual because we were all trying to dodge getting sick. Everybody.
It was a horrible set.
And we were in those down at the base of the mountain, and there was limestone dust in the air, and limestone dust when you breathe it is going to make you sick. And a lot of people got sick on that shoot. It was a hard toughie. It was a tough shoot. So lots
Like
of
50 degrees all the time.
yeah, lots of unusual and dark, dreadful things were happening to people as we shot. It was a horror movie within a horror movie. That's the way that was, man.
Same question for you, or do you have the same answer?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that bad. I think there was an actor there. He was an extra, but he was a black belt in one of the martial arts. And in the movie, he's the zombie in a kimono. And I had to hit him on the head with a shovel. And I had hung out with him a bit, and I'd watched him. Anytime you changed your position in relation to him, he would change his position just instinctively. The guy was a serious black belt. So I had to go to him and say, "Now listen, this is a rubber shovel. And when I hit you on the head with it, if it hurts, just don't come at me." He understood it. He did it fine. He also did a somersault when I hit him on the head, but I don't think they got it on camera.
Oh,
They could never quite get it in the frame.
Jim Wetzel. That was his name.
What was his name?
Jim Wetzel. Martial arts instructor there in
Yeah. Anyway, that was life-saving.